Judeo-Christian traditions. Recently, many politicians and political leaders have been using the term Judeo-Christian traditions to describe the heritage and foundations of Western civilization, aiming to encompass the shared heritage of Judaism and Christianity in an attempt to appear righteous and inclusive. However, although Western cultures have experienced the influence of both Christianity and Judaism, this was not always a harmonious union. Throughout the Piscean Age, when Christianity was the dominant religion in many parts of the world, relations between Christians and Jews were not entirely amicable. The basic reason for this is very simple. Once you understand the origins of each religion from an astrological perspective, Christianity is a Jupiterian religion promoting the optimistic and goodwill characteristics of the planet Jupiter, a planet whose glyph expresses its spiritual supremacy over the material world, with the crescent or the Christ taking precedence over the cross of the material realm. Judaism, on the other hand, is a religion based around the characteristics of Saturn, a planet which promotes the materium over the crescent of spirituality. This is an inversion of 180 degrees opposite to Jupiter, and therefore runs contrary to the basic ideologies associated with Christianity. The phrase Judeo-Christian has only been around since the 1930s. Both the UK and the US now claim to laws and ethics based on Judeo-Christian values, but it is important to remember that Jews have been systematically excluded from and terrorized by states that claim this Judeo-Christian foundation. Jews have been kicked out of over 100 countries throughout the Christian Piscean Age and excluded through various laws more often than they have been welcomed. As to the dialogue, in the purely theological sense, nothing could be more fruitless or pointless. Judaism is Judaism because it rejects Christianity, and Christianity is Christianity because it rejects Judaism. What is usually referred to as the Judeo-Christian tradition exists only in Christian or secularist fantasy. Rabbi Eliezer Berkowitz. For where there is Christianity, there cannot be Judaism. Saint Ignatius. Some Gnostic Christians considered the Hebrew God of the Old Testament as an evil false god and creator of the material universe, and the unknown God of the Gospel, the Father of Jesus Christ and creator of the spiritual world, as the true God. In the Archontic, Sethian, and Ophite systems, Yaldabaoth is regarded as the malevolent demiurge and false god of the Old Testament, who generated the material universe and keeps the souls trapped in physical bodies, imprisoned in the world full of pain and suffering that he created. In some Gnostic texts, Yaldabaoth is further identified with the ancient Roman god Saturnius. After World War II, the Holy Roman Empire took a massive hit. Not only was Germany utterly defeated, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on major Catholic areas in Japan, bringing an end to the war. Subsequently, the Vatican was persuaded by the victors into modernizing and embracing a new position, promoting this new Judeo-Christian concept as an ideology and tradition. Previous popes would only welcome Jews if they were prepared to convert to Catholicism. Pope Pius X, on January the 25th, 1904, received Theodor Herzl in a private audience, only to inform him that he could not support the aspirations of Zionism. The Pope declared, "The Jews have not recognized our Lord, therefore we cannot recognize the Jewish people. If you come to Palestine and settle your people there, we shall have churches and priests ready to baptize all of you." The Jews' guilt of the crucifixion of Jesus consigned them to perpetual servitude, and like Cain, they are to be wanderers and fugitives. The Jews will not dare to raise their necks, bowed under the yoke of perpetual slavery, against the reverence of the Christian faith. Pope Innocent III. After the reformations of the Vatican II, the new pope's titles expressed this new union and ideological shift from spirituality towards a more material approach, reflecting the transition from the Piscean age over to the new Aquarian age ruled by Saturn, the cross over the crescent. For a pope to adopt a double-barreled name is unusual, and the order in which those names appear is significant. According to official history, the name John comes from the Hebrew Yochanan, meaning Yahweh is gracious. Furthermore, it can also be viewed as a composite of the symbols of Capricorn and Saturn, Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn and the cardinal sign following the winter solstice. St. John's Day is December the 27th. The crest or emblem for the Apostle St. John is a chalice with a snake inside, essentially representing poison. It is believed that at one time St. John drank a cup of poison and lived. In contrast, within the history of Christianity, St. Paul the Apostle is often considered to be the most important person after Jesus. A religion which put the crescent of spirituality before the cross of materialism. Consequently, to choose the name John Paul in that order could be viewed as an attempt to esoterically express the 180-degree shift in the Church's new direction. The Old Testament is thought by many to be a Yahweh cult, as Yahweh does not appear once in the New Testament. Slaughter the old men, the young men and women, the mothers and children, but do not touch anyone who has the mark. Begin at my sanctuary. So they began with the old men who were in front of the temple. Ezekiel 9:6.